Okay, in this video, I'm going to show you how to use MyFitnessPal to log and track your meals, your calories, and your macros. So I'm going to use the desktop version. Much of it is exactly the same as what you'll see on the app. So please just try and follow as closely as you can. When you started the coaching program, you'll have been given a nutrition guidance and a calorie and macro goal. So what we're going to do first is we're going to go into the app and we're going to set up those goals ready to start. So under the Home tab, there should be another tab called Goals. You click on there, and then underneath, these are the only ones we're going to bother with, is calories, carbohydrates, fat, and protein. So if you click Edit, and basically all you need to do is you need to go in and edit these numbers to the numbers that I give you in your initial plan. I'm going to use myself as an example. So currently, I'm on a fat loss phase. So I'm on 2,200 calories a day. I've set my protein quite high. If you want to change this to match the macros that I've set for you, you just go in, change the percentages. They go up in 5% increments. Just pick the closest one that works. That's closest to the goal that you're looking to achieve. It doesn't have to be gram for gram precise. Close enough is like the nearest 5% is absolutely fine. Just make sure that when you move one of them, everything balances to 100%. So I've now got my calories, 171 grams of carbs, 73 grams of fat, 220 grams of protein, and for me, that's exactly where I want to be at the moment. So I'm just going to click Save Changes, and that's me set up. Now we're going to toggle some other settings. We're going to go into the food diary settings. So click on food, settings. You can track additional nutrients. The three main macronutrients that we're concerned about are already here. If for any reason you want to look at sodium, different types of fat, vitamins, fiber, minerals, micronutrients, you can do that, but it's extremely hard to do so with the information that you get from food labels and everything else, and the listings that are going to be in the MyFitnessPal database. So I would just stick to your carbs, fats, and protein. Mine is set up. I've got 6 meals per day. You don't have to. What you can change this to suit yourself. So if you have 3 meals and you want to change these, you can go in and you can rename meal one to breakfast, lunch, dinner, as you need to. So let's say we want to get rid of meal six because we don't need it, and that's it. All you'll see in the next screen is 5 meals. I'm going to add it back in. Let's say you wanted to change meal one to breakfast. Save changes. This should already be set to public. If you've done the training on how to integrate MyFitnessPal to EverFit, that should already be set to public. So that's fine. We've also got another toggle here, enable negative adjustments. Now what this does is if you've got MyFitnessPal connected to a health tracker such as an Apple Watch, Fitbit, what it will do is as it recognizes activity and change in heart rate throughout the day, it will estimate additional calories burned and it will adjust your calorie and macronutrient goals as it'll give you extra. So if you start doing a lot of activity and your health tracker picks that up and links it to MyFitnessPal, it will increase your goals because it will give you additional calorie allowance. And at the moment, we don't want to do that. We just want to know exactly what our calories and macro goals are. So leave that one unchecked. If I click save, settings updated, you'll see that if I now go into food, it's called meal one breakfast. I don't want that, so I'm going to change it back. And as it says in the paragraph here, if you want to delete meals, if you only want to have 3 or 4 meals visible in your diary, just delete the text, save it, and it'll make that adjustment. It won't show it. Right, they're the basic settings that we need. The next step is to start logging food. So we're going to click in the food tab. I've already done mine for today. So what I'm going to do is go tomorrow and I'm going to fill in tomorrow's log. Now, this is something that I recommend all of you should do, is to try and plan your meals the day in advance. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to fill in this as I would do it for tomorrow, knowing what I'm going to eat tomorrow. So my breakfast tomorrow it's going to be the same as yesterday and the same as today. It's going to be an omelette with a cup of coffee. So I'm going to start adding foods. Oops. So I found one large egg. I'm going to click on it and I'm going to put in 4 servings because I'm going to have 4 large eggs. And I'm going to add to diary. Next, I'm going to go for large egg white, which I found there. If you found a food listing with a green tick, it's already been verified. It's probably a safe bet to use. MyFitnessPal holds a database of verified foods and foods that the general public have entered. So not all of them are accurate. You might have to do your own little bit of research and just make sure that the actual item that you're choosing in the database is accurate. So I'm going to click on that one. Now, I have quite a big omelette for my breakfasts, made of 10 eggs. I have 4 whole eggs and 6 egg whites. I'm going to put 6 egg whites in there. What I also have is I cook my omelette in half a tablespoon of butter. So I'm going to put in unsalted butter. We've got one there, a tablespoon. Let's go with the verified one because there's, yeah, 1 tablespoon, 100 calories. Click on that. I'm only going to have half a serving, so I'm going to have half a tablespoon. So I'm just going to put 0.5 in there. Add to diary. And that's pretty much it. I'm also going to have some skim milk in my coffee. So I'm going to add skimmed milk. Now I know that I measure my skim milk out in milliliters, so I'm going to look for a listing that has 100 milliliters. Because it's very unlikely that there's going to be one that says 50 mil. But I know if there's one that says 100 mil, Now, we can already see here there's quite a few variances of this. So again, I'm going to go with a verified one. I only have half of that, so I'm going to go 0.5, and that's me 50 milliliters of milk to go with my coffee. I also put a little bit of ketchup on my omelette. Make sure you track everything. Don't leave anything off. Um, let's go for a tablespoon. You can weigh it, of course, and then look for a listing that contains the weight. But I'm just going to use 1 tablespoon. Okay, that's meal one. I know for a fact because I've already made it today. I've already prepped ahead. The meal. I'm going to skip to meal three. My meal three is my lunch. So I already know what this looks like. I know it's grilled chicken, 250 grams. So I'm going to look for, I always weigh my chicken raw. I'm going to look for raw chicken breast. Yeah, this is pretty close. So I know that I weigh my chicken in grams. I also know that a gram is roughly the same as a calorie in terms of weight and calories. So 100 grams of chicken, 106 calories. I know that that one is a good one to use. So I'm going to click on that one. I also know that on average, a chicken breast that I use weighs 250 grams. So just going to put 2.5 at the diary. I'm then going to have rice. So I'm going to put jasmine rice, dry. It's a good idea to weigh your foods either raw or dry. That way you're not taking into account any variance in how much water has either been absorbed or has been lost. Again, I'm going to search for a listing that has it in 100 grams. So jasmine rice, 100 grams. I'm going to go with that one because they're all working cups. Because it already says 100 grams on there. I know that I'm not using 100 grams, I'm using 60 grams, so I'm just going to put 0.6. I also know that I use half a tablespoon of olive oil. So I'm going to look for olive oil. I'm going to find a tablespoon, and then I'm going to put 0.5 in the servings. Go to diary. Then I'm going to add it's usually either broccoli or green beans, 100 grams. So I'm going to add food again. I'm going to go green beans, 100 grams. And 100 grams sliced green beans. That looks close enough. I'm going to add that. Meal five. I know for a fact we're having spaghetti bolognese tomorrow. So I'm going to go 5% beef mince, 100 grams. You can actually type into the search, it's a Tesco item or a Sainsbury's item. It's very likely to be in here. I'm just going to use this one. And I also know roughly the portion of mince that I use. So we get a 500-gram tub of mince between two adults and two kids. My portion would be 170 grams, so I'm going to put 1.7. And then I'm going to add some pasta. It doesn't really matter whether you put spaghetti or pasta, but I'm just going to put pasta, dry weight, 100 grams. Dry weight pasta, 100 grams, 363 calories. I know pretty much that's pretty much right. Um, I would have 70 grams, so I'm putting 0.7. I'm then going to add the sauce. So I'm going to put large brown onion. We have a third of one, so 0.3. And then going to fry a tablespoon of oil for all of us. So my serving of that again would probably be zero point 0.3. So I'm going to go olive oil, 100 grams. Sorry, olive oil, tablespoon. I'm going to put zero point 0.3. Then I'm going to put uh, Tesco passata. I'm going to put 200 grams on meal. I'm now going to add some broccoli because we normally have some steamed broccoli. 100 grams steamed broccoli. For a cup or 100 grams, it normally seems around about similar amount of calories. I'm not going to worry too much about this one. So I'm just going to put 1 cup, 35 calories at that. Broccoli tends to be mostly fiber anyway, so very few of the calories that you consume are actually absorbed. So that's pretty much meal five. We've got mince, pasta, onion, olive oil. The passata has gone into the wrong. The passata got added to the wrong meal, so I'm just going to click on it and I'm going to switch it into meal five. So that's meal five done, pretty much. Meal six would be my last meal of the day. Normally we have some supper before we go to bed, and it's usually Greek yogurt with whey protein and peanut butter. So let's add those. Greek yogurt, 100 grams. Didn't like that for some reason. Okay, Greek yogurt, 100 grams. Let's take that one. skip that one. Sorry. Zero on again. Skip that one. Do that one. So we've got the Greek yogurt there. Next, we're going to add whey protein concentrate, 100 grams. We'll put 100 grams because most food listings come in 100 grams. I don't want one that says one scoop. I want to know exactly how much I'm having. Ah, I can use this one. Whey, my protein, 50 grams. It really doesn't matter what brand you're using. If it's a whey protein concentrate or if it's an isolate, they're going to be roughly the same. And 50 grams is what I use, so this one works well for me. So happy to go with that one. Next, I'm going to add a tablespoon of peanut butter. So I've searched for crunchy, crunchy peanut butter, 100 grams. Pasta crunchy peanut butter, 100 grams. Let's go with that one. Now, I use a tablespoon, which I've already measured before. I know it's 25 grams, so I'm just going to put 0.25. So, that is my day. That is my total food listing for tomorrow. Now, that's taken me longer than I would normally expect because I've done this from scratch. If I was doing this myself, this would take about 1 minute because all of these foods I've already logged loads and loads of times before. They come up really quickly and I can copy and paste them into other days, which I'm going to show you now. But essentially, what I've done is I've built tomorrow's plan from the ground up. I know exactly what I'm having in each of my meals. I know what everything looks like. And if you look where my calories and macros meet, they're so close. I'm 23 calories over my calorie goal, which I'm not bothered about in the slightest. It's only 23 calories. My carbs, I'm 20 under. My protein's pretty much bang on. I'm only 6 grams over. And my fat is there and thereabouts. I know this was going to land where it lands because I've done this day hundreds of times. What I'm going to show you now is once you've put that on, if you need to adjust things to hit your calorie goal, then this is all you need to do. We're going to go back in to my home goals and we're going to change the calorie goals. Now, first, I'm going to do this for someone who is on a calorie deficit, a bigger calorie deficit than I'm on. I'm going to change this to 1,700. For now, I'm going to keep all the macro ratios the same, but we're just going to change the calorie goal. Now we go back into food, back into the food diary, go into tomorrow, which is the day we were looking at. Now you'll see that I am 500 over my target. And I can also see that I'm 20 over my carbohydrate goal, 20 over my fat goal, and 56 over my protein goal. So this is where we need to reduce from. So this is what we can start to do. I might go here and take out one large egg, reduce it to 3. I'm now going to reduce the size of my chicken breasts to 200 grams. And already we've taken away 100 calories. I'm going to take my serving of mince down to 1.5. I'm going to take egg whites down from 6 to 4. So now protein is not far off. So I'm going to leave that now, and I'm going to try and concentrate on reducing carbs. So pasta, let's bring the dry weight down to 60 grams from 70. We need to bring the fat down, so let's go into the peanut butter, and let's weigh out 20 grams. Let's make it 15 grams. Fat is pretty much there or thereabouts now. I don't want to change fat anymore. I still need to pull some protein, and I still need to pull some carbs. So we can have a look at our log. We can potentially take out another couple of egg whites. We can reduce the yogurt to 80 grams. And it's just making very, very small, subtle differences like this. Let's get rid of another egg. So now we're going from 10 egg omelette to a 4 egg omelette. Now we're only 100 calories away. So where else can we pull from? We can drop the 50 grams of whey protein down to 40 grams. So that would be 0.8. Now we're bang on the protein goal. We've still just got a few carbs that we need to trim out. We could go back into rice, take that down to 50. We go into pasta, take that down to 50. And we've hit it pretty much exact. So once your meal plan's in, that's how you can tweak it to alter your goals. Now I'm quickly going to do it the other way. Feel free to skim ahead in this video if there's parts of it that are not applicable to you. We're going to increase this calorie goal for someone who's maybe a man who's on a bulking phase. Going to knock that up to 3,000 calories. We're going to edit the macros to make it a lot more carb heavy. and we're back in again. Now we've got to fill this food list up with another 1,300 calories. Now, this can be the exact same meal plan for somebody who's on a diet or somebody who's on a bulk, someone who's on 1,700 calories or someone who's on 3,000 calories. So you can have exactly the same meal plan. You just have to make all of those adjustments to manage your macros where they need to be. So we're going to start with we're going to go back to 4 eggs. We're going to go to 6 egg whites, and we're going to add in 2 slices of wholemeal toast. Next meal, we're going to bump up the chicken to 300 grams. We're going to bump up the rice to 100 grams. Bump up the oil, 1 tablespoon. You can see we're starting to close the gap. Protein is now already where it needs to be, where we're lacking, and the fat's pretty much where it needs to be as well. We need more carbs in there. So this is really easily done. We can go for a big 100-gram serving of pasta. We can go into meal 3 and change that how we've already added the rice to 100 grams. So we still need to add more carbs. This is where you can start to incorporate your other meals. So for meal 2, we can put in a banana. We can for the yogurt. Let's cook the yogurt to 1.5, so 150 grams of yogurt. We can increase our vegetables. We can add another piece of fruit. Sixty-nine calories. We can do 200 grams of green beans. And now we're only 34 calories out. So you can see, even with the same meal plan, regardless of where your calorie and macro goals are, you just need to go in and make small adjustments. Now this has taken longer because we're doing it from scratch and we're illustrating the point of how to tweak your calories and macros by changing it. Now let's say we're happy with today. That is a typical meal plan for one day. Now what we want to do is make this easier for ourselves going forward for other days. So if this looks like a typical breakfast for us, We can, there's a few different things. You can copy to another date, or you can remember the meal. So we know that this is Phil's egg breakfast, or Phil's egg meal 1, and save. So what we're going to do is show you some quick hacks to make this easier for planning other days. So if I know I'm going to have this meal on another day, let's say going to Thursday, I know that my breakfast is going to be the same this day. I can either copy from date, so I can just click copy from Wednesday, and it adds it straight in for me. Or I'm going to do it in meal 2. I can add food, but then I can go into meals, and there's already a list of different meals that I've already saved. So I'm going to look for, here it is, right. Phil's egg meal 1. I want it in once, and I'm going to add it in. So again, that's another way that it's added it in again. So you can copy from a previous day into this day. You can also go back to a previous day. And let's say I wanted to have meal 6, which is my peanut butter, yogurt, and whey protein. If I know I'm going to have that the next day, I can copy it to a date in the future. So I can say copy that to Thursday, copy it into meal 6, and it's brought it in. Another thing you can do on here is under quick tools. If you don't know the breakdown of a meal, but you have an idea, it's estimated how many calories it's going to be. Like, let's say, for example, you're going to have a takeaway one weekend, and you've got a pretty rough idea that a large pizza is going to be 2,000 calories, but there's no way of actually finding that in the database. You can just add a placeholder, quick add calories, assign it to whichever meal you want, and then you can just put down 2,000 calories and add it to the diary. So it's basically there just to show that you've added something for something you know is going to be whatever calorie value it has, but isn't something that you can find a listing for. Okay, so this is pretty much the basics of using MyFitnessPal. Basically, search for each of your foods, add them into each meal. Once you've created your listing in advance for the day ahead, you can then check and see where you are hitting in terms of your calories and macros, and then basically just go into each food item and manually adapt them until you land in the right place. And then what you've got is that is your food plan for the next day. All you've got to do is follow it. The reason I suggest that you do this the day in advance is you can plan exactly where your calories and macros are going to land so that it's pretty much exact like it is here. If you try and do it on the fly as you go, You'll log each meal as you have it. By the time you get to the end of the day, you could be over or you could be under, and then you're stressed having to try and think of how am I going to fill in another 400 calories or how am I going to pull back another 300 calories. If you log everything in advance the day before, you know that you are going to hit exactly the numbers that you need to hit, and then that is your plan. All you need to do is follow it. It does take a little bit of um, time initially to get this set up, but once you've done it once or twice, a couple of days, or you've fit in a week, you've got enough meals and enough options in there that you can copy and paste to and from each of those days in the week, manipulate very slightly if you're over or under, and it's so easy. Okay, I hope that's been helpful.